Alright, is Kyle Kulinski an anti-Semite? These are the big questions we have to answer today. That, and should IDF soldiers record it when they put on Israeli lingerie, or should they not record it? This is really a 3-in-1, done through a quadruple reaction chain where I'm reacting to the Vanguard, reacting to Destiny, reacting to Kyle Kulinski, reacting to the Haaretz story about the IDF soldiers firing upon Palestinians in the aid sites. And I also did a video about that, so some of you might know what I think about that, but I'll explain it again for good measure. After we watch Destiny, give his insightful opinion about Kyle's insightful opinion, and then we'll get the Vanguard's insightful opinion. So this is how this works.
This was a CIA Mossad op, and it's a fake humanitarian agency. And what they do is they lure Palestinians from all over Gaza to come to a specific area in Gaza and say, hey, we're promising you food, we're promising you medicine. Then they show up, and in many instances, the IDF opens fire and murders them.
Before we let Destiny talk, does Kyle know how many Palestinians show up to these aid sites, like, per day? Like, the trucks that get into Gaza, it's not even near enough. It's like 80 or something. It's like stupidly low. But let's just say millions of Palestinians go to these aid sites every single day. If this was a genocidal op, which I'm not excluding that opportunity. I'm not excluding that explanation. I'm saying we don't have the evidence for it. If this is a genocidal op, how are millions of Palestinians showing up to these? Like, the combined instances of showing up to these humanitarian programs since its inception, it's like, it has to be hundreds of millions, tens of millions of instances of Palestinians using these centers, and only 500 have died. It's like, well, that's not a very effective program. Like Israel did a lot more in a single day in the start of this war than they're doing with this CIA Mossad op. And is the CIA really involved? It's absurd. Like, I'm not even going to mitigate it. Like, what Kyle's saying here is absurd. And I say that as someone who thinks that Destiny's opinions on this war have kind of expired. I think they're insensitive at this point. Like, at the beginning of the war, he had some points. Like, in pointing out the blatant absurdity of some people early on in the war, making outlandish claims that we did not have evidence for. But at this point, he's kind of on the wrong side of history, I believe, because now we have several open and shut examples of clear war crimes, of much clearer than they were in the start of the war. Besides the initial blockade. So let's let Destiny respond.
Why? This is anti-Semitism, and this is anti-Semitism. Like, how stupid, but would you have to be to believe this and then report it? You have planes, like, you waste all that money bombing all these buildings, telling people to evacuate everything first, and you fuck up so much, right? Because they could have killed so many more people. You evacuate people from different halves of the country over and over and all this. You do all of that just to lure people to food stations and open fire.
Exactly, it's literally absurd. Like, and only 500 Palestinians have died, which is absurd, by the way, for a humanitarian center. But it's called excessive force. It's called lazy and racist IDF commanders saying this crowd needs to be dispersed, and I'm not going to go through the effort of doing that in a humanitarian way, so we're just going to fire into the crowd. That's called excessive force, right? It's not called a CIA Mossad op. If so, where is the CIA involved in this again? Where is the Mossad involved? I thought it was just, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't what's his name? The guy on Piers Morgan, he said Mossad wasn't operating in Gaza. Alan Dershowitz, he's like, oh, we have no Mossad in Gaza, so that's why we can't kill Hamas as effectively as we killed all the IRGC commanders and Hezbollah commanders. Like, is it that or is it not?
In the places that are probably going to have the most amount of people reporting, recording, and observing. Like, this is so
it's
stupid.
Almost like it's a fucking genocide and they're proud of.
It is stupid. It's literally, it is stupid, this idea. The most attention-seeking points in Gaza. Why would they do it there? They would do it at Al-Mawasi, where there's, like, no cameras. And by the way, all of Gaza has, like, a whole drone net over it, where the IDF surveils. And the most public footage comes out of the aid distribution centers. That's where we see this stuff. And they could kill people much more effectively with bombs. They could literally drop bombs on Al-Mawasi, kill thousands of Palestinians, and say we had intelligence of Hamas and we're never releasing that intelligence, and no one would wink an eye at them. No one would, like, bat an eye. They would say, oh, Hamas is in the refugee camps, we gotta bomb them. Like, they could have so much better cover by just bombing Al-Mawasi refugee camp. And I'm not saying they haven't done that. I'm saying we don't have the evidence for that, obviously, because so much of this is kept under by Israel. I mean, they don't let journalists in, for God's sake. So we don't know.
It's almost like it's a genocide and they're fucking proud of it, bro.
Bro, I watched a clip of Destiny the other day in Israel. Okay, it could have been shot at any time over the last 6 months.
We'll get to that clip. We'll get to that clip. Trust me, it's a funny clip. But it's a genocide and they're proud of it? Really? So they want the entire world to think that they're committing war crimes. Why don't they just say we're committing war crimes then? Why would they bother having a propaganda arm like the Vanguard is using as little logic as Kyle Kulinski is? This is what's wrong with the pro-Palestinian movement. Like, people say absurd stuff for no reason when they don't need to. Like, just call it what it is. Go for the war crimes that we know happened. We know via the Haaretz story that soldiers were ordered to fire on Palestinians to disperse them. Or in any way you slice it, it's the most like dangerous humanitarian outlet that we've ever seen. Like, before this, there was like the hundreds and hundreds, I think 400 UN programs, and that was much better because it was all dispersed out there. At 400, you didn't have to force Palestinians to walk through war zones. It was much less of a disaster. But this is a disaster. It's not a CIA and Mossad op. Those two are very different things. And it's also not, it's a genocide and we're proud of it, so we're going to find the best place to broadcast our genocide. Like, what? What genocide ever has that happened? Like, isn't the genocider, like, what kind of strange genocide do they think this is? Like, in every genocide, the genocider is trying to justify it, like, along humanitarian grounds. They're like, oh, we're just quelling the insurgents. Like, that's like Cambodia, Rwanda, and Darfur, the Guatemalan genocide. Like, that's the line of reasoning in all of these genocides. So why is this one different? Do they think that the Israelis are this level of like subhuman evil that they not only do they want to do a genocide, but they want to broadcast it in the most effective way possible? It blows my mind.
Oh, we got to play that video. I know which one you're talking about.
Yes, and he comes out and he's like, basically, do your war crimes in private. Gavin, we can play that at the end if you want. I'll keep playing this.
I'll just play it right now.
I think Israel has unique issues. Here's the one piece of advice I'll give you, okay? If you're joining the IDF, okay? Leave your fucking cell phone at home and stop taking stupid fucking videos, okay? Because everybody's fucking you with them, okay? And if you see a soldier, okay, going through a fucking drawer, and listen, if you want to fucking wear a dress and you think it's funny, just don't fucking take a fucking video picture of it, okay? Jesus. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of the gist of it, but...
Yeah, and if you guys aren't, if you...
I mean, he's just being funny. That's like, of course some people think it's insensitive because that is a war crime. Like, the things that Israeli soldiers record them doing to their property, like, that's a war crime. Undue destruction of property without a proportional military advantage is in the Geneva Conventions, like, word for word. But do they seriously think, if you ask Destiny, do you agree with Israeli soldiers like rummaging through all these houses? Do you think he would say yes? I mean, no, he wouldn't. I think he's just being funny. And he's talking to the IDF. Is he gonna say like, F you, like, you guys are stupid, you're committing all these war crimes? Like, I guess he could say that. But I mean, he's clearly there with the IDF. He's like probably made friends with some of them. I don't know. I don't find any issue with that, because I know that Destiny wouldn't believe that is okay, because he's pro-Israel, way more so than I am. But he does have moderating opinions. Like, he doesn't believe in settlement expansion. Like, that's a bare minimum opinion. But it's not the type of opinion that would give you the extremism to say to entice the IDF to commit more war crimes and say that he's doing that with any kind of sincerity. Let's talk about the Houthis.
Vosh also tried to deny.
Sometimes they have to take a different, much longer route to get to Israel. Oh man, the horror!
Like one of the things that kind of upsets me is that the idea of people not understanding the importance of free international maritime trade is something like very...
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Houthis blocking the Red Sea was not a big deal. Like, nobody even noticed it. Like, unless think about the geography of it, unless Israel is shipping stuff in from East Africa and West Asia, that kind of come up into that Red Sea, it doesn't really matter. They can go around the Cape of Good Hope, and anything shipped in, weapons are flown in, so it doesn't matter. Anything shipped in by the Mediterranean Sea from Europe, that's untouched. So it's, yeah, they have to go around the Cape of Good Hope or fly it in. It doesn't really matter. The Houthis Red Sea blockade, which is why I'm against it, because they ended up. I agree in principle that targeting Israeli ships there it's somewhat defensible, even if those ships are carrying some civilian goods, because all the military stuff, the big military stuff, is flown in. But what the Houthis ended up doing was they were kind of just blowing up any ship. Like, they were blowing up ships with no tie to Israel, and at that point I'm like, just get out of there. You don't have the accuracy necessary to do this effectively. This isn't really effective to begin with, so what you're doing is kind of silly. I don't think they're bad people for doing that. I think that they're just standing up for what they believe in. The Houthis are bad people in other respects because they force conversions. Then they're religious extremists, even more so than Hezbollah, Hamas, and Iran. Like, they'll say, if you're a Jew, you must convert or we will expel you. So they're very, very bad in other respects. But Red Sea blockade, not the biggest fan. Is Kyle Kulinski anti-Semitic? No, he's not. I think he's just kind of in a bubble, like the Vanguard is, where there's no limit to the pro-Palestinian opinion. There's no opinion that goes too far. You can levy any absurd war crime conspiracy against Israel, and there's no moderation. Like, it has to be correct because Israel is the worst thing that has ever existed to them. And it's like, what I'm all about is just like describing reality to the best of our abilities. That's why I don't have the confidence yet to call it a genocide, because I haven't seen the evidence, and I've looked at I think I can describe pretty well the kind of eight major genocides since the Holocaust. 5 of those were more like the Holocaust than others. Some of them were more about quelling resistance that kind of turned into a genocide near the end. Some of them were out and out genocide, like Holocaust-like events. I feel like after looking at those genocides, I don't have the evidence needed to make the same claims about this. Not even close. And I'm willing to get that evidence if there's something I haven't gotten. If there's something I'm not aware of. Like stuff comes out every day, like the OxyContin stuff. Well, let's do more research into it. Well, there's only like four accounts of that. If Israel wanted to poison Gaza with OxyContin, they would probably grind it into the flour. And this flour doesn't come from Israel. It comes from other places. How are they getting into these bags? Why have only 4 of them popped up? It's like, and Gaza's already flooded with tramadol from Rafah, Egypt. Because it's a miserable place to live, so there's going to be more opioids. So it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm in favor of describing the open and shut war crimes that we know that they've done. Like the most poignant example is the starvation campaign, and it's very obviously a starvation campaign. But I'll end it there.